Hello everyone, today is 30th of October, now it's about 10 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment. Although before I start, let me remind you that this evening I will publish a second news update on my Patreon and the Boosty pages with all the additional main news that Russian media will report about. And if you are interested in more news from Russia, more commentary, or if you want to support my work, then please consider to join our communities on Patreon and Boosty. That will be a great help. Links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. That's been said, let's go through some news, and I will skip battle map today because in recent days I spoke quite a lot about significant progress of the Russian armed forces on a number of sectors of the front line, especially on South Donetsk and Pokrovsk sectors. And I will start with this news that during the night time and in early hours today, Russian air defense systems on duty intercepted 23 drones that was launched by Kyiv regime with assistance of NATO member states, obviously, to strike deep inside the Russian territory. And these drones were intercepted over the Rostov, Kursk, Smolensk, Oryol, Bryansk, and Belgorod regions. There are no reports for this moment about casualties on ground or more or less significant damage. Although, if any update on that, obviously, I will, of course, I will share additional information on my Telegram channel. And our next update. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that according to Russia's defense ministry, during the previous 12 to 24 hours, Russian armed forces conducted strikes on units of 16 brigades of the Kyiv regime in Kursk salient area. And if you are interested, these brigades are 21st, 22nd, 41st, 47th, 61st, and 115th mechanized brigades. Also 17th Tank Brigade, 80, 82nd, 95th Assault Brigades, 36th Marine Brigade, also 1st Brigade of Special Purposes, 103rd, 112th, and 129th Brigades of Territorial Defense. Quite a lot of brigades of the Kyiv regime are still involved in this suicidal invasion of the borderline areas of the Kursk region, and the majority of them, I believe, already lost significantly their battle capabilities, but some of their units still are presented in the area and are under constant target for Russian armed forces. Also, we have this news from RT that Ukraine is about to extend its mobilization and forcefully mobilize another 160,000 men into its armed forces. Kyiv will conscript 160,000 more troops over the next 3 months, according to statements from lawmakers and media outlets on Kyiv-controlled territory. More than 1 million soldiers have already been drafted, yet high losses have left the Ukrainian armed forces, plagued by the manpower shortages. Speaking in the parliament on Tuesday, Ukrainian lawmaker Alexei Goncharenko said that 1.05 million citizens have been recruited into their defense force since the conflict with Russia escalated in February 2022. And then, quote, we aim to call up 160,000 more individuals, which will allow us to staff military units with up to 85% personnel, he said, noting that his information came from Alexander Litvinenko, the Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council. So I guess we will see significantly more videos from Kyiv-controlled territory with these kidnappings of the people on the streets, forcible mobilization, and even more people will try to flee Kyiv-controlled territory in whichever way. So that's what is happening, and I would not be surprised at all if in next several months Kyiv regime will further lower the age of the people that could be drafted, even up to 18 years. Recently, I watched video, by the way, on Telegram that was, video from Kyiv-controlled territory when her mom was speaking to her son, and her son was 12 years old, and this mom was saying that this kid has to be sent to Poland because, according to rumors that are circulating in Kyiv-controlled territory, Eventually, even yet again, according to that video and that person, even 14-year-old kids will not be safe. And eventually, Kyiv regime may start sacrificing even 14-year-old kids, not just 18-year-olds, but even less than that. And and these rumors are circulating, and people are getting more and more stressed, obviously, and they will find their ways to at least try and flee the Kyiv-controlled territory to save their kids and themselves. Also, RT is reporting that Zelensky secretly demanded Tomahawk missiles from the US, and this was initially reported by New York Times. So Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky secretly asked the US for Tomahawk missiles, the range of which far exceeds any of the Western-made weapons previously supplied to Kyiv. The New York Times reported on Tuesday, citing sources according to the paper, such a potent weapon being handed over is out of their question. According to an unnamed senior US official, the request was a part of the secret secret points in Zelensky's so-called victory plan, which the Ukrainian leader presented in a parliament earlier this month. Among other things, the plan calls for the West to invite Kyiv to immediately join NATO and some other nonsensical stuff. Well, it is good to know. It is good to know that Washington, at least for now, are not even considering deliveries of Tomahawk missiles or introduction of the Tomahawk missiles to the battlefield. Uh, Although anything is possible. Anything is possible. Western ruling class is desperate, and out of desperation, they may escalate this proxy war against Russia to their unimaginable scale. And RIA Novosti is reporting, by the way, RIA Novosti is reporting that uh, facility of a biggest British company in military industrial complex, BA Systems, is caught fire, and their locals in the area was even asked to stay indoors, shut their windows, and just be safe. Be safe. Although reports also are saying that no, there are no nuclear threat, no radiation threat for the people. And let me translate the news first. And this company, this facility was involved in production of nuclear submarines for British Navy. So let's go through this news. The fire started at the facility of the largest UK defense company, BA Systems, in Barrow in Farness. There is a no nuclear threat. Cambria police stated at the same time, people living nearby were advised to stay indoors and keep the doors and the windows closed. 2 people were taken to their hospital. According to the Mirror newspaper, British nuclear submarines are manufactured at this facility. This is not the first such incident, although in recent times. In April, an explosion occurred at their plant for the production of the components for munition. BA Systems in Welsh. Bloomberg previously reported that BA Systems aimed discussion about increasing supplies to Ukraine, plans to increase their production of the 155mm artillery shells by 8 times. The Financial Times newspaper wrote that against their background of the demand from Kyiv and their signing of the new contracts, in particular with the British government for the production of the nuclear submarines and combat vehicles, the total value of the BAE Systems orders reached a record figure of 69.8 billion pounds or 87 billion US dollars. So, well, when it comes to finances, BAE System is doing quite well. Tens of thousands of pounds being diverted to this company for different weapon systems. But in this particular case, well, some facility. I shared photos, by the way, on my Telegram channel on this topic. And what can I say? As long as civilians are not harmed, you know, That's the main point, that civilians are not harmed. When it comes to military-industrial complex of the West, I could not care less, really. Let's be real here. RIA Novosti is reporting that Defense Minister of Russian Federation, Andrei Belosov, reported to Russian President Vladimir Putin about exercises massive exercises of Russia's nuclear forces. And yesterday, early in the day, Russian president ordered basically Russian strategical forces to to start exercises, and in a process, intercontinental ballistic missiles were launched from the ground and from the sea from Russian nuclear submarines. During these exercises, I believe a Yars ballistic missile was launched that is capable to carry multiple nuclear warheads on thousands of kilometers, also from Russian submarines in different areas of their ocean launched Yasin, I believe, and Bulava intercontinental ballistic missiles that are also capable to deliver unimaginable punch with its nuclear warheads. Both these missile systems are able to carry multiple warheads, and the decoys. Also, strategical aviation of the Russian armed forces were engaged in these exercises. Missiles hit their target. Exercises went well, according news that I read. And well, defense minister reported about it to Russian president, and I guess this was yet another message from Moscow to Western ruling class that I mean they can no longer continue living in this bubble that they live in illusion that they can somehow defeat Russia, and they should come to their senses if they are not really suicidal, because missiles that I just mentioned can reach actually any point on this planet, literally any point on this planet. But I mean, this additional message is good. It's good, but I guess recent statements from Russian president about changes in Russian nuclear doctrine did its thing definitely reach its adressate among Western ruling elites and Western ruling class. And since then, we clearly are seeing less and less escalatory talks, at least on extreme levels, from their Western propaganda outlets, from the Western so-called politicians. So I guess they start realizing that there really are some red lines which cannot be crossed, otherwise they will all die. And they don't want to, right? They don't want to. Anyways, let's continue. RT is reporting that EU country to supply tanks to Ukraine as a part of German deal. So Croatia will send dozens of its older tanks and infantry fighting vehicles to Ukraine aimed at conflict with Russia in exchange for discount on the purchase of Leopard 2s from Germany. The Balkan nations' defense ministry has stated a letter of intent was signed by their two NATO allies during their talks between Croatian defense minister Ivan Anusic and his German counterpart Boris Pistorius in Berlin earlier this week. Their ministry said in a statement on Tuesday. In the document, Zagreb and Berlin confirmed their readiness to provide Kyiv with 30 Yugoslavian-made M84 tanks and 30 M80 infantry fighting vehicles, which are currently operated by Croatian military. The statement reads, there are 60 vehicles will only constitute the first delivery. It added, as a part of agreement, Germany will be buying the hardware from Croatia, but instead of money, Zagreb will receive discount from Berlin on their future purchase of new German-made Leopard 2 A8s, the ministry explained. According to the statement, Anusic described the scheme as suitable for all three sides involved, Croatia, Germany, and Ukraine. Zagreb intends to buy a total of 50 Leopard 2s as a part of modernization of Croatian armed forces, the ministry said. Well, unfortunate news, by the way, unfortunate news, but not really surprising if you keep in mind that Croatia was an ally of Nazi Germany during the Second World War, as many other European so called states were, right? Unfortunate, unfortunate, but it is what it is. What it is. Big mistake on part of Croatian political class, and it is really unfortunate. The people of Croatia is allowing this to happen, and they are okay with these actions of their government. Well, I guess they will regret one day. RIA Novosti is reporting that there was another demonstration in Tbilisi yesterday evening, a demonstration of the supporters of this so-called opposition, which is completely controlled by the West, by the US Secret Services to be more precise. And unfortunately, this escalatory ladder will will make headlines in media for quite a long time, I'm afraid. And at some point, probably we will see significant escalation in in Georgia, because I don't think Western ruling class will stop its attempts to destabilize this former Soviet republic, conduct regime change, and then sacrifice Georgia by using it as a tool against Russia. But for now, seems like government, their security forces, law enforcement agencies are in charge and are controlling the situation. But things may escalate at any point. Any point. Before I continue, dear friends, with some more news, and there are some more news, let me notice, if I may, that this small media projector is completely subscriber funded, completely depends on you and your support. And if you like my work, if you want to see further development of these channels, this project, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal or Boosty platforms. And you can see on your screen Boosty platform, which I'm trying to use as much as I can and promote, especially since my account was shut down on Buy Me Coffee because of my Russian citizenship. And yes, you can donate through PayPal or through Boosty platform, or subscribe to my Patreon page and the page on the Boost, where I see plenty of content. Although obviously my Patreon page is much more developed because I'm working on it for far longer than on a Boosty. All the links on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And I really hope, dear friends, I really hope um, Patreon community will reach at least 200 before end of this year, because until that happens, this project is constantly in surviving mode, and this is exhausting. By the way, this is exhausting. That's how it is. By the way, it's difficult to build a independent media project, very difficult and stressful. But you know. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. And the RT is reporting that Hezbollah names a new leader, according to media reports. So Hezbollah has announced that it appointed Deputy Secretary General Sheikh Nam Qassem as its leader, according to media reports. Both Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya reported on their appointment on Tuesday, citing statement from Hezbollah. This follows the recent killing of the Lebanese movement's previous leader, their potential successor, in Israeli strikes. And well, Foreign Ministry of Israel did not spend too much time while preparing comment on this topic. And they said that leadership of this person, Qasem, may be short, maybe shorter. And well, that's may be the case because Israel is killing leadership of Hamas and Hezbollah on regular basis. So that's the response from Israel. Meanwhile, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting about statements of President of Iran, Pezeshkian, who said that Iran may retaliate on Israel with significantly more force than a previous retaliatory strike if Israel will continue provocations against Iran and their attacks on Iran and Iran's interests. This statement was made, as far as I understand, as a response on information that we received from Israel yesterday about possible secondary strikes on Iran by Israeli forces. Let's hope there will be no more strikes. Let's hope we will see some de-escalation in the region. But yet again, Western ruling class is desperate. They want to see desperate for many reasons. By the way, they are losing geopolitical confrontation with the rest of the world big time on many directions, and one of the directions is Middle East and China. And they are desperate to cut off China from Middle Eastern energy sources to harm Chinese economy somehow. And that's why they are pushing Middle East towards a regional war. That's why they are using their proxies, Netanyahu and his regime, to constantly escalate in region until regional war will be provoked. And that's why it is very important, in my personal opinion, this bilateral agreement on strategical partnership to be signed between Moscow and Tehran, which will possibly include a mutual protection pact between the two countries in case of foreign invasion, because if that will be included in that agreement, it might play a role of deterrence. And in addition, I would not be surprised at all that even if such a pact will be signed about mutual military assistance or support or defense in case of foreign aggression, I would not be surprised at all if that will be not enough for Iran. And Tehran may ask Moscow to deploy Russian troops on Iranian soil and tactical nuclear forces. It may sound like fantastic scenario right now, but that might happen because that will definitely play significant role as a deterrent for anybody that will try to attack Iran, if there will be Russian nuclear forces based there, right? As it is in Belarus, by the way. I doubt that any hostile nations towards Russia or Belarus will dare to attack this republic, because the president of Belarus was very clear that tactical nukes will be used there straight away on the very first hour that her border is crossed. He said, our borders is our red lines, and there are no more. So Minsk is not playing, and Tehran may use a similar policy, similar approach. Although let's see, by the way. In any case, Russia, China, India, South Africa, Brazil are very clear that they don't want to see further escalation in Middle East. They are trying their best to somehow push sides towards de-escalation. But unfortunately, Western ruling class has significant leverage over Israeli leadership, political leadership, and military leadership, isn't it? And they want regional war to happen, and they are using their proxies there to further escalate. TASS news agency is reporting that Russian ambassador in Baghdad, capital of Iraq, stated that Iraq has an interest to join the BRICS, which is quite interesting, by the way. Yet another country that wants to become a part of uh, emerging multipolar world, and obviously BRICS is one of the foundational stones of the multipolar world, and this is great news. This is great news. Of course, leadership of Iraq sees that Iran is a BRICS member state now. United Arab Emirates is a BRICS member state now. Saudi Arabia may decide at any point to join BRICS as a full member because it already has a status of invited. Right? Turkey wants to join BRICS, so why not Iraq? Why not? Isn't it? And well, I guess in very short time, Baghdad will make you know official statements on that. Although obviously it will take time. It will take some time before Iraq will become a full member of the BRICS, but direction is clearly the right one. Let's continue, and well, this is quite disturbing stuff is happening, by the way, in US. I mean, quite disturbing stuff is happening in many parts of this world, and nowadays US obviously does makes a lot of headlines due to this presidential race, and Trump supporters were called garbage by Biden, by the way. I saw this video and I was still surprised, by the way, because I mean, what the hell, man? What is wrong with these people, man, that are formally at least in charge of US? How they can talk this way? I don't get it. I don't get it, man. They are public figures, high-ranking officials. Do they feel any responsibility? Uh, I mean, I don't know. So the supporters of the Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump are garbage, outgoing US President Joe Biden said on Tuesday. He later claimed that he misspoke and meant to condemn a specific speaker at the Trump's recent Madison Square Garden rally. Biden made his comment during their Zoom call organized by the Hispanic advocacy group Voto Latino. He began by bringing up comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, Kill Tony, basically, who made a joke on Sunday comparing Puerto Rico to a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean. And by the way, Kill Tony is a comedian, right? He's not just an ordinary comedian, he's a roasting comedian, right? He's ruthless in its roast, right? And the comedian was invited in one of the events in Madison Square Garden. That was, I believe, in New York. And he joke around, right? That's what he does. And since when these elites in US become so sensitive, or people in US become so sensitive that you know what, we cannot take no jokes anymore, you know? Hell, man, this is a comedian. Make up some shit, you know, and talking some garbage. That's what comedians do, isn't it? Or all comedians. They are trying to make people laugh. That's what they do, and Kill Tony is quite good at what he's doing, right? And comedians play huge role, by the way, a positive role for society because they are in position when they can talk about topics that may be tabooed in for others, right? But comedians don't give a damn about. At least that used to be case, but nowadays with this whole censorship and stuff, even comedians being attacked and their statements or their comedic sketches being taken as some serious statements. I mean, what the hell? This Kill Tony was just joking around. I listened to his this like 8 or 9 minute speech on that event in support of Trump, and I mean, he just joke around. Uh, I didn't see nothing extraordinary there, you know. So This is, I mean, this is all um, attempt by the way, in my opinion, this is attempt of yet another attempt of neolips and and the Kamala Harris's camp to divide U.S. society even further on racial lines and other lines, which is, I mean, sad, really. Which is sad. Why everything have to come down to the race in U.S. I mean, almost every single topic eventually is coming down to race. What the hell, man? Here in Russia, we almost never talk about race. I mean, literally, never. I don't remember when I spoke about race uh, last time. Only when I'm commenting some news about it, right? While recording news update. That's it. But in US, every single topic, even jokes of comedians, being seen through the prism of this racial divide and this and that. And I mean, this is too bad, man. And when it comes to Biden, I mean, this creep is a total disgrace, isn't it? Till Tony was joking around, right? And this individual, Biden, is formally at least president of US, and he called at least half of his fellow citizens garbage. Wow, he should resign, by the way. I mean, immediately. If he had any dignity, he should just resign and don't embarrass himself and the US anymore. I mean, just too much, really. And these idiots, by the way, these idiots that are pulling the strings in US and these idiots in deep state or neolips and so on, globalists, call them whatever you want, they may destabilize social fabric in US so much so that they might provoke civil war there, you know? Because I mean, this is extreme language, by the way. You cannot talk like that. When you are a politician, you cannot talk that like that. If you are a comedian, you can call garbage just about anybody. If you are commentator, by the way, I can call Biden garbage. I don't care. I'm just a news commentator on a small channel, right? But if I was a president or high-ranking official, would I use that language? Of course not, because every position has its responsibility. Every position comes with its terms, right? And if you are president, how on earth you can use this language, man, to call half of your country garbage? Wow, this guy is nuts, man. That's what it is. I mean, Biden always was psycho, and nowadays it's just really too much. You cannot comment on it really too seriously. Anyways, let's continue, dear ways, dear friends. U.S. citizens will punish neolips and deep state and their puppets for disrespect. Interfax is reporting that 131 citizens of Australia are in a stop list of Russia, new stop list, and this is a retaliatory measure from Moscow for actions that Canberra is taking against Russia and Russian citizens. Unfortunately, relationships between the two countries is deteriorating, and this is sad because I mean, why on earth Russia and Australia should have any issues at all? I mean, just take a look at the map. This is Russia here on the north side, and this is Australia on the south side of this planet, by the way. And objectively speaking, there is no reason, not even single reason, why should a Moscow and Canberra not be on at least working terms, right? But because of the Western ruling class, or because of the domination of the Western ruling class over this collective West member states, obviously Australia is not sovereign state, and its leadership is acting according to orders, directives from Washington, London, or from you know, and that's why they are escalating with Moscow, and Moscow is retaliating. I mean, how else? RIA Novosti is reporting that Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, stated that, well, EU is planning, EU is engaged in a conspiracy to overthrow government in Hungary. And this is a quite a serious allegation, by the way, quite a big statement, isn't it? Let's translate this news. So, the leadership of the EU, European Union, represented by the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, Ursula Bursula, and later of the largest and leader of the largest faction of the European Parliament, the European People's Party, Manfred Weber, are plotting to overthrow the legitimate government of Hungary. Prime Minister Viktor Orban said in a social network, there is an open conspiracy against Hungary under the leadership of Manfred Weber and Chairman Ursula washing machine. They recognize that their goal is to replace the Hungarian government with the new government, uh, Javol, like the current Polish one. He wrote, well, Hungary's leader is, Hungary's leader may provoke some beef with the Polish elites by saying so, but he has a point, by the way. He has a point. And well, I have no reason to not to believe of his statements after all the anti-Hungarian steps that Brussels was taking all these years, just because Hungary's leadership is trying to protect Hungary's national interests, uh, main interests of the Hungarian people, right? Culture, history, traditions. And he was attacked. And not just him, but whole of government of Hungary. And I believe that, yes, Western ruling class, Brussels bureaucracy wants to overthrow government in Hungary and put their puppets there. So that's the situation, by the way, and expect some serious escalation between Budapest and Brussels in upcoming weeks, months, and possibly years. And one day, Hungary may say, you know what, we had enough of it, and we're going to leave EU now. I mean, that might happen. Give it another 3 to 5 years, and who knows? Hungary may say, you know what, just, I mean, we know we don't want this no more, and we tried, but it does not work, right? So we're gonna stay out of this nonsense under the name of European Union. Interfax is reporting that in Finland, by the way, some 40 objects of the Russian that was belonged to Russia was arrested, confiscated by the way, basically by local authorities. And well, Russian foreign ministry obviously reacted on that. Note of protest was sent, but obviously it will change nothing. Finland is ruled by the puppets of the Western ruling class, and they are escalating with Russia constantly, literally on like almost daily basis. Seems like Finnish leadership is looking for, I mean, ways to further escalate with Russia, and they are coming up with their new uh, topics. Now they confiscated, arrested some 40 objects in Finland that belongs to Russia. Okay, what Moscow gonna do about it? Moscow will retaliate, right? And assets of Finland will be arrested in Russia. And who's gonna benefit? Uh, I don't think Finland or Russia gonna benefit from it in any way, shape, or form. But yet again, Finland is escalating. Russia has to respond, right? You cannot ignore that kind of stuff. So therefore, Finnish leadership is just destroying relationships between the two countries for no apparent reason, really, just because they are fucking Russophobes, man. That's all. And they're prostitutes of the Brussels, Western ruling class. And I'm talking about whole leadership of Finland, by the way. These morons and the imbeciles. Okay, I mean, If it was up to me, I would recall Russian ambassador from Finland, shut down the border, and you know what? Just stay out there, stay away from us. I will take such position in regards to many countries in collective West. I will recall ambassadors, cut diplomatic ties in, and will say, you know what, you are no longer existing for me. I mean, just stay out, stay away. We've had enough of you, right? Enough of your inadequacy. And if somehow, sometime in the future, uh, local societies will manage to uh, introduce to the government some adequate people, maybe then diplomatic ties will be restored. But right now, about what leadership or Russian diplomats gonna, have a conversation with their Finnish politicians, I mean, Finnish leadership. About what? You cannot have a serious talk with them, right? On anything, literally on anything. Same can be said about Polish current leadership, leadership of UK, right? Germany, France, Spain, US. I mean, what the hell, man? Just recall ambassadors and that's it, man. Just forget about these states and their existence, and that's it. Uh, I may be too conservative. Of course, Russian government not gonna recall no ambassadors from nowhere, but if they will, I will have no issues with that because really, I mean, what is the point to spend millions and millions of dollars to maintain embassies in these hostile nations? Some backdoor communications will still exist anyways, right? We all know that. So, what is the point to maintain this uh, absolutely irrelevant at this point diplomatic ties? Just cut it, you know? Just cut it, you know? People of Russia and Finland will manage to communicate somehow through internet or through other means. uh, they will find a way, and same can be said about societies, Russian society and societies in Germany or UK or US or anywhere. I mean, if people there want to communicate with us, then we will find a way to communicate, right? We don't really need a I'm communicating with you, right? And I don't need no embassy, Russian embassy in US to do so, isn't it? So it will not harm relationships between the people, but it will be a strong statement, political statement that you know what, we've had enough of you, and therefore we are just recalling our ambassadors, and that's it. You know, at least for the time being, before your societies will elect some adequate people in the parliaments, in the governments, and so on. It makes sense to me, but anyways, continue. Let's continue. And the Glad newspaper is reporting that the EU, by the way, finally introduced 35% tariffs on Chinese electric cars that are exported by China to the European market, to EU market, because not all European states are, of course, members of the EU. Serbia, for example, is not. And well, this is big deal, obviously, and China will retaliate now. China will retaliate, and significant number of businesses, EU, among EU member states, will now suffer as a result of this decision of the Brussels. And they're not going to protect local manufacturers, isn't it? They're just not going to protect by this decision. There is no way they're going to protect local manufacturers because local manufacturers already are in crisis. And just yesterday, isn't it? I reported about decision of uh, Volkswagen to shut down 3 plants in Germany, and tens of thousands of workers will be fired, and their wages will be cut for others by 10%. So how these tariffs on Chinese electric cars gonna help those workers that are about to get fired, or the Volkswagen? It's not gonna help it, right? Because Volkswagen is experiencing difficulties because, first of all, because of the cost of the production of the cars in Germany. And why this cost is too high? because German government decided that they don't no longer want Russian energy, which was significantly cheaper than energy on other from other suppliers, right? So they put ideology first and national interests of the German society, German economy, and Germany second, and that's what is happening, right? And I believe workers of the Volkswagen, BMW, and their other sectors of the German economy, not just car manufacturers, are going on strike because people are not happy with their with current situation in German economy. And the economies of France, Spain, or UK definitely not feeling any better. That's also the case. But anyways, now as a result of this step from Brussels, 35% tariffs on Chinese electric cars, of course, number of additional number of businesses in Europe gonna suffer because China will introduce tariffs on European goods, right? That are already struggling to compete on the world market, including on Chinese market. And Zlat newspaper is reporting that, well, you might be surprised to hear this, but new cars of the Mercedes, by the way, will be equipped with with engines from Chinese car manufacturer Geely, which is wow. When I read this news, I was a bit surprised because I did not expect that this Geely was producing engines that Mercedes might have interest in. Uh, I mean, clearly Chinese manufacturers are catching up, by the way, catching up fast with their leading car producers like Mercedes is, right? So let me give you some more details, by the way, on this news. And a Mercedes-Benz SLA of their third generation will be equipped with an engine manufactured by the Chinese company Geely with a capacity of 250 horsepower, reports Car News China. The third generation Mercedes-Benz SLA or CLA was introduced in mid-October. The motor itself is manufactured in China. Their catalyst will be installed in Germany in accordance with the requirements of their emission of harmful substances, according to this report. And well, this is quite interesting. This is quite interesting. And Geely is, by the way, uh, is a holder of the 10% of the Mercedes. You know, Geely is a holder of the 10% of the shares of Mercedes, which is also quite interesting stuff, isn't it? So yes, information in a confirmation that Chinese car manufacturers developing in a unbelievable speed, but in unbelievable speed. If they are producing engines that are good enough for Mercedes, then well, that said quite a lot, isn't it? Or that said there are two things: either Mercedes is is no longer top class manufacturer, or Chinese car manufacturers are reach such a top level that their engines now are good enough for Mercedes to be installed in the cars of this company. In any case, interesting news. And that's it for now. You should see, by the way, Russian uh, highways packed with the Chinese cars. I mean, this decision of the car manufacturers of the collective West to leave Russian market was such a gift for Chinese car manufacturers. I mean, they probably will be forever thankful for this to the European car manufacturers, South Korean car manufacturers, Japanese car manufacturers, because they established themselves on the Russian market in a big time, by the way, big time. I didn't expect such a rapid advance of Chinese cars on Russian market, but I mean, in every 10 car that you see on the street, at least one or two is Chinese now, you know? And it was not the case some 10, 15 years ago, even 5 years ago. But now, I mean, I just notice Chinese cars everywhere. I started, I never knew Chinese car manufacturers, by the way, before. And now at least I know some of them, like Hawal, Geely, uh, and there are some others. But at least these two I can remember right now. Anyways, this is it. For today's first update. Hopefully, you will find this video informative, interesting, entertaining. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. And if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends on internet or in real life. That might also help to reach wider audience, obviously. And if you like my work, if you want to see further development of this project, maybe transformation of this tiny media project into media company, please consider to support my work with a donation through PayPal or Boosted platforms or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links on this video description box and in the pinned comment. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a great day and take care.